Okay folks, today we're going to do something a little different. This horse, his name is Patron. He's 10. And I want to show you what I need to fix first so you'll see where I'm headed. And like most horses that ride Western, they don't separate the front from the back. They just turn. It's either the front feet and the hind at the same time, or anyway, you'll see it. What I want this horse to do is to plant his hind quarter and turn with his front end. That's where I'm headed. So first I'll show you what's typical, then I'll show you what I need to fix. And because this horse has self-carriage, or excuse me, it has a level of collection, I can get away with this. You can't do what I'm about to do with all horses as far as I'm concerned. It's not a recipe thing. It's a deal where you got to weigh the circumstances. So, but watch me turn this horse around. Now this is typical of a horse. This is typically how they're ridden. Now if you'll notice, the neck bends. I'm putting the rein on the neck, and the horse is just turning around. Okay, in some circles that would be considered a broke horse and really an absolute amazing animal, but in my little circle it isn't. I need the horse to shift its weight and step across so that when I start working cattle, I'll be able to manage my horse better and do a better job working cattle. When I rope, I know he'll be on the hind quarter and he can take the hit of the weight of the rope sliding around the leather horn. Okay. My friend Bernard has been riding this horse, and he's already put it all here. I'm just putting the final deal on the turnaround. But he got the backup going and the horse feeling good about collection. So the foundation for this is what I'm going to do now. So I want a horse to walk backwards. That's very light. This horse is light. You see my right leg go back? It's because the horse started to drift. So Bernard put this on the horse, not me. So that gives me somewhere to go from. This horse is actually light. All I got to do is create habits for a new work ethic. Okay, now, the way the process works, you've seen me do this with a snaffle, but I'm actually going to do it with a Western bit on this horse because he has a level of collection and he's light. If he was through the bridle, I'd be beating my head against the wall. I'd have to get my snaffle and do things different. This horse isn't that heavy. Okay, what I want you to watch is that, for example, when I want the right front foot, I'm going to raise my right shoulder, drop my left seat bone, turn my left toe out, and have my spur ready to cue the horse to stick his right front foot out. My right leg will come off every time I ask for the right. My left leg will come off every time I ask for the left, so we can open the door and the horse starts to connect the dots to my skeleton. So the big turn is how it starts. So I say excuse me by making contact, and the horse understands to keep walking even though I picked up on the rein. Now, my hand needs to stay centered on the rein, on the neck. You've got to do the math so that your hand doesn't go past your saddle horn. Now watch my right foot. I'm going to start walking, turn my toe out, and ask my horse to step over. Now I've already worked him on this a little bit. Well, too bad. What you need to know is that every time I feel his body start to leave, I check him and put him back on the hind quarter. That's how come he learns to understand to shift his weight to the hind quarter. Right front, big turn. As I come by the camera, I'm going to roll my left foot out, open my right shoulder, pick up on the rein, which incidentally means excuse me. You're telling the horse I need something. Then I will put my leg on, not my spur, and he's turning left without bending his neck all the way around. Now I'm going to stop him and ask the right front to reach out and back and step across. That's how this works. Don't start off with a 180, start off with an arc. Now watch my right toe. I say excuse me, right toe curls. He thinks I want to stop. Well, my other leg is off, so now I will put both legs in gear and get him moving again. For a horse to understand the difference between collection and stopping, it just takes your legs to let them know they keep moving while they're in collection. Now my left leg is off, my right leg is on, there is no spur involved, my left shoulder opens, I pull back, and I ask the horse to step over and across. So this is kind of for you folks on the northern range, this is when you start shipping. Well, I hate to be redundant, but you're going to be waiting on a truck, so here's what I would do in the alley. I would start backing down the center of the alley, then I would open my left shoulder, put my right leg on, and have the horse step to the side. Then I would back down the alley and have him step to the right. That's how you can build on that. There is a school of thought that the way to accomplish this is against the fence. You stay far enough off the fence so the horse has to shift its weight. Well, that's all wonderful and that can be done, but I personally don't like it because it's a visual crutch that this particular horse doesn't need. I can get this done quicker without using that. If you have a horse that's dull as a rock and you need to get his head against the fence and side pass first, that's a different story. What I want is for this horse to understand when I'm backing and I raise my right shoulder, my left leg rolls, he steps over. I'm going to build on this and he'll learn to turn a 180 when I ask. Now the interesting thing that I don't think you can hear, some of you may think it's me, but his breathing gets heavy when I actually ask him to move his body. You can hear his breathing. So what that means is he's tightening the muscles up around his throat. And I'm just telling him, you don't need to get worried about it. Just move. Now, for those of you that have watched me for a while, you understand that my goal is to roll my calf, not use my spur. My spur is a tool. It is not a weapon. I will use my spur to get my point across. If I need to come in with the spur, I will, which is what I just now did. Excuse me. Front end, please. Thank you so much. That's how this starts. All right. That's what you build on. Now, here's the most important part about training a horse. His feet cannot move 1/4 of 1 inch anywhere. Left, right, forward, back. He can go backwards a little bit sometimes, but he's off now. I will watch his ears change position. I will watch his skull drop down. Hopefully, I will feel him take a deep breath because he knows he's off. Get it? If you just casually hold the reins, he's not off. If you set him down, and if you're in an alley waiting on a truck, it's not like he's going anywhere. But to me, this is the time for him to process what it is I want. So, I was lucky enough to get some literature, more from Hawaii, and it's absolutely well written. All those little things that I lay awake nights thinking about, like there was a little sentence in there about the Paniolo made his knife by cutting up an old carpenter's handsaw. So if you ever wondered where the serrated edge knife came from, it's one of the thoughts. If you can picture cutting a piece out of it and then taking the part you cut off sharpening that, that's your blade. The other side is serrated. One of the reasons is, there goes the skull, is that they call them bullock hunters in Hawaii when they were catching feral cattle. Well, for me, a bullock has always been something that pulled a cart. A lot of times it's a big steer in the freight world in the old days. Well, the bullock was a general term for wild cattle in Hawaii. So one of the ways they did it was they would rope them, one of the ways, choke them down, and then hamstring them. So I'm guessing that knife came in pretty handy. So now they're three-legged. They couldn't run off, and they'd herd them down to the corrals or down to the beach where they could process them. Process them meaning the hide was sold and the meat was salted. So after hauling salt on the backs of many people up the mountain to put it on wild cattle, they finally figured out to bring them down the hill and save hauling the salt up. That's only one way that they got this done. And I'm going to just leave you on the edge of your seat because it just never ends. Anyway, my horse has made it. I'm going to reach for the rein. I'm going to ask my horse to walk backwards with my spine and my legs. Thank you so much. This lesson is over. Goodbye.